This is the LK67 keyboard from GamaKay. Well, actually this isn't, this is. It's a bare bones keyboard made for creating a custom keyboard on a budget. And it's actually one of the better looking designs I've seen, especially at a budget price. It's the newest release from our friends at GamaKay. I've covered a bunch of their stuff before, and thanks to banggood.com, they sent this over to me for review for you guys. But as always, my opinion is unbiased. I don't have to say anything good about it. I just have to cover it in a video. So here we are. There's another bare bones budget priced keyboard that's been growing in popularity called the TM680, and this is essentially GamaKay's version of that same exact design. It's an OEM product. A few things that make the TM680 popular and should maybe make you consider looking at the LK67 are of course the knob here in the corner, which can be used for volume and media control, as well as a number of other options you can customize, as well as its budget-friendly price of only $60. That's really good for a bare bones custom keyboard. For $60 you have the option of black or white. I noticed Banggood's website has pictures of a pink one, which they do not offer. I assume it might be pictures of the TM680, which is available in pink. Inside the box you get the LK67, a braided USB-C cable, this handy switch puller slash keycap puller combo, and a wireless dongle. The board itself is already put together for you, unlike some other more expensive custom boards. This one's more beginner friendly in that it's ready to go. You just need to pop in some switches and some keycaps and you are set. It also includes some plate mount stabilizers, which are pre-installed, and like the last couple of GamaKay boards I've covered, they're actually pretty good out of the box. You could swap them out for something like maybe Durock stabs, although I have heard those are a bit of a tighter fit on this board, well, at least on the TM680, which is basically the same board. But I think at this level they have very minimal rattle and they sound okay enough that if you're just starting out, maybe you don't want to take the time or you don't have the budget to buy some better stabilizers, you can just deal with them as they are out of the box. It sounds decent enough for me. Yeah, this is a bare bones board, so if you don't have switches and you don't have keycaps, you are going to need to purchase them separately, which is what makes the $60 price point so appealing. Yes, there are plenty of keyboards out there at a much lower price, or maybe even around this price, that are already all completely put together, but you get the customization level that you wouldn't get with those boards. This is a hot swap board compatible with 3 and 5 pin switches, not compatible with optical switches, so if you're into Gateron optical switches, you're going to want to look elsewhere. But if you are into any other switch out there that is 3 or 5 pin compatible, they will work with this board. As the name may imply, this is a 67 key keyboard, so you're going to need at least 67 switches. A lot of places sell their switches in packs of 35, so you just need 2 of those and you're all set. It is a 65% board, so the 65% layout is going to be a little bit harder to customize as far as keycaps go. You are going to have to find a set that has a smaller shift key, as well as a 1U alt function and control key for the right side of the board. It's not too hard. There are some budget friendly options out there, and I haven't really taken a full look at Banggood's available keycaps, but if you do want to purchase some from there, they are available. For my first test of the board, I decided to use some Gateron Milky Top yellow switches that I already have lubed and filmed with Krytox 205 grade 0, and I don't remember what films I've bought, but I'll keep it here on the screen. For keycaps, I kind of don't really have any available sets of keycaps around here that I haven't already featured, and to keep things from getting repetitive with the same keycaps over and over, I decided I'm going to make a Franken board and mix and match some of the keycaps that I have, but trying to keep it still looking fairly nice. For the alpha keys, I use some of these HK Gaming keycaps that I've featured in the past. For the mod keys, I do have these keycaps that are from another set that I actually did get from Banggood a while back. These sets are both cherry profile. The only problem with the Banggood set is it doesn't have compatible keycaps for the right shift and the smaller alt function and control. So for that, I had to go with 2 other sets. So I used a couple of these keycaps from this sushi keycap set that I got on Amazon that I have on my main board at the moment, and I still needed the shift key, so for that I ended up using a shift key from a knockoff HK Gaming milkshake themed keycap set, and I think altogether it looks pretty nice. Sure, a couple of the white keycaps don't quite match perfectly, but if you're not quite looking at it, it looks pretty good. I like the whole black and white theme with the blue accents. Here's a short sound test with a full sound test near the end of the video. I think it sounds okay. The board itself does have some sound dampening under the plate, between the plate and the PCB. I don't think that there is any other kind of dampening under the PCB, between the PCB and the bottom of the case. It definitely sounds too hollow for there to be anything like that in there. There's also these silicone dampening pads that are wedged into the plate. I've never seen that before, and I guess it's to help dampen the sound of the spacebar specifically. It kind of makes a little bit of a difference, but not entirely, but it doesn't hurt to have them included. But I also don't want to take this thing apart. I want to show you guys how it sounds and how it feels to use it out of the box. If you want to take it apart and mod it yourself to dampen the sound and make it less hollow, by all means, that's up to you. Now, this board does have some really nice RGB, but unfortunately this current keycap and switch setup doesn't really show that. So because I wanted to show you guys the RGB of this board, I had to take that apart and put in some non-lubed RGB friendly Gateron yellows that I had sitting around, as well as some shine through keycaps that I have from Drop, and that looks really nice. I don't really use RGB on my main boards lately, but I gotta say, that looks really clean. And just for comparison's sake, here's a quick sound test of the non-lubed Gateron yellows with these OEM profile keycaps, and it's a very different sound. So as you can hear, that's a lot more hollow sounding. You could change it up by just lubing the switches. I just don't want to take the time to do that with these. But if you do want to use RGB friendly switches, if you just lube them, it's going to sound a lot better. There's also RGB on the side of the board, a little accent there, including the back. It kind of has, it almost feels like a spaceshipy kind of theme with that little grill in the back, and it looks pretty clean. Unfortunately, it's not really bright enough on the back or the sides to really have that RGB shine through on your desk, unless maybe you're playing in the dark. But like, for example, on my Idabao ID80, you can totally see the RGB lighting up a little bit on the top of the desk, and it looks nice. It doesn't really get that effect here with the LK67. Would be nice if those were a little brighter. Another problem I have with the RGB is that it's a little bit weird when it comes to changing the animation speeds, the effects, and the brightness on the board. On most every other keyboard I've used with RGB, if you change any of those things using the keys on the board, it just changes seamlessly. But for some reason, anytime you make just one single change on the lighting on this board, whether it be the speed of the effects, the brightness, anything, it just does this thing where it turns black for like a second before it lets you continue. So it doesn't really flow, and it kind of just slows down changing it. It feels weird, and it's weird that this board does that and no other board really has, even cheaper pre-built boards. It's just a little nitpick. It's not really a huge hindrance. It's just kind of annoying when you're used to everything else working better. And this is a wireless board, and it does that whether you have the board plugged in or not. Oh yeah, speaking of the wireless, this actually has two wireless modes. There is the included 2.4 GHz wireless dongle that I mentioned earlier, as well as Bluetooth 5.0 support. My PC doesn't have Bluetooth, so I couldn't test out Bluetooth gaming, but I was able to connect very easily to my MacBook via Bluetooth, and it worked really nice. And you can also connect up to 3 devices via Bluetooth. I would never recommend Bluetooth for gaming, but if you do want to use a wireless connection for gaming, just use the included 2.4 GHz dongle, and you'll be fine. It does have a 3-way toggle on the top of the board that you're going to need to switch between depending on what mode you're using, including the wired connection, but it's really easy to change between your connection type. The battery life, I don't know offhand, but I mostly have been using this board via the 2.4 GHz wireless connection. I don't think I've really had to recharge it, and that's surprising because I've had the lighting on. The lighting kind of stays on. A lot of these wireless boards will have the lighting turn off after very short time of inactivity. On this board, at least by default, the RGB on wireless mode will stay on for at least a few minutes at a time. If you do want to extend your battery life though, you can just press function and page down to turn off the lighting altogether while keeping the board on. Now, unlike a lot of custom bare bones boards, there are actually preset key configurations for the 3 side keys here. You can change those in the settings of the software, but by default they are delete, page up, and page down. and there's actually a handy manual in the box that will show you the layout of the keys. And again, you can use the software to change everything on the board with the exception of the function key, which is locked to this position here. You can change the functions of the knob as well, but by default out of the box it does adjust your volume, and then you can click it in to mute your computer. Now maybe you're new to the world of custom keyboards, maybe you look at a bare bones keyboard and you're thinking, why would I pay for that when I could just get a board that's already put together? That's stupid, it's a lot of work, you're gonna pay me to, I gotta buy this thing to work? Oh, that's you, that's my impression of you. Well, the appeal here is just the full customization option that you get. It just basically gives you full control of, here's the board to start off with, you buy the switches you want, you buy the keycaps you want, and go nuts. It's a great entry price point as well for getting into the whole custom board scene. If you're just not sure if that's the road you want to go down, maybe you want to spend a little bit less money, because even the budget friendly custom boards like the Portico or the KBD 67 Lite start at around $100 to $120 if they're even in stock. You've got about half that price here. It should at least be in stock, and that way you can just start things out and try it out for yourself. All in all, while I think the sound profile is a little deeper and chunkier than I usually like when it comes to a custom board like this, I think the LK67 is a great launchpad. It's a great starting point, as I just mentioned a moment ago, if you want to get into and experiment with the world of custom keyboards before you really start throwing your wallet at the wall into a garbage can, setting it on fire. But hey, at least you've got a collection of nice keyboards on the wall and on your desk. So, you know, worth it. And so I think the LK67 from GamaKay is a worthy investment. It just works. And if you want to pick up everything in one go from Banggood, they do offer switches of their own as well as different keycap sets. You just want to make sure you get something that's fully compatible, and if not, there are plenty of resources, plenty of websites out there where you can purchase them at various price ranges, and you've got a lot of options out there. The possibilities are endless, as is the potential for you to support this channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing, and sharing this video with a friend. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to Banggood for sending out the LK67 for review. We're gonna wrap things up with some more extended sound tests of the board with the lube switches and the non-lube switches. Thank you guys for watching. Here's the sound test.